Jai Hind everyone. Myself Amrita Tiwari, Assistant Professor, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. Today I will be discussing a topic, array. It is a very important topic and it comes under the programming for problem solving using a C. It is basically a first year lecture. So let us start. What is array? So in my lecture, the contents are: firstly, what is derived data types. Secondly, we will be seeing what is array. Then we will see how we initialize the array. And lastly, we will see how many types of array we will be using in a programming language. So as you know, there are different types of data types in a programming field. Firstly, primitive data type, in which our basic data types come, which you already know, like char, int, float, double, void. Then there comes a derived data type, which we derived. So in this, there comes an array, pointer and function. And then there also one data type also, that is user defined, in which enum, structure and union comes. It is basically a data comes in under the data structure. So today we will be discussing about one of the derived data type, that is a array. And it is very important topic in point of view of programming language. As you learned, any programming language, either it is a C, either it is a Java, Python, anything, array comes in all platform. It is used in every platform. So let us see what is derived data type. Firstly, what is the meaning of derived data type? So derived data types are those that are defined in terms of other data type, or also known as base data types. So new types may be derived from the primitive types. Primitive types are this. From this they are derived. So now let us see what comes under the derived data type. Why we are saying the array is a derived data type, as primitive data type can hold only one value at a time. As if we see with the example, if we write int a is equal to 5, so it is a data type has a variable a, and a is containing an integer value, that is 5. So at a time, the primitive data type can hold only one value at a time. If we want to write int a is equal to 10, so what will happen? Instead of 5, the 10 will come. It will replace the 5. So primitive data type can hold only a one value at a time. So to overcome this disadvantages of primitive data type, we use the concept of array, as array can hold n number of elements at a time. So if we see the definition of the array, so array is a collection of items or elements stored in a continuous memory location. It is very important. It should be stored in a continuous memory location. Or let us suppose we understand with an example. If I want to store the marks of 50 students, so if I will be using the primitive data type, I have to initialize 60 variables for storing the marks of 60 students, like int m1 is equal to 50, int m2 is equal to 10, up to 60. So it is very time consuming, and also it is not a good idea to use like this in a program. If we doing a programming, the program also become lengthy and it is not a good practice. So that's why to store the 60 element using a one variable under the array, we can store a unlimited numbers of data. We have to see the how much size is. If for this, if we want to store the 60 variable, so we can write int marks 60. So in the memory we will have a storage of 60 and we can store a 60 students marks in one sentence, in one line only. This is not a good practice and this is a good practice to use. That's why we use a array. Secondly, what is important to know here, that it should be in a continuous memory. It's not like that I have stored one student marks here, then skipping this I have stored here another marks. It is not, it should be in a continuous. If one marks is there, then second marks come here, then third, and so on up to 60. In a continuous memory. So, or we can say like this. This is an example. Here, elements are stored one after another, and this is the index. The first element we are storing in the array, they have a array index of starting from the 0, and from 0 to n minus 1 the array is started. So, why, as I told you example, suppose you store a 50 student, I have taken 60, so let's suppose 50 students. So allotting the 50 variables, it is typically hard to use the primitive lines. So to achieve in a 1 to 2 lines, we use another way is a array. It is a very good practice to use an array. So where the arrays are used, in this example, firstly we can store the student or employee names. There are there are hundreds and fifties, more than 100 and 150 students, more than 1000 students. So we can store their names, or if there is any organization, we are storing the employee list. So arrays are very efficient to use to store the number of employees name or anything. Or we can store the student marks also here, or we can store the number of lines or characters also. So these are all the ways we can store the arrays, we can use the arrays. So by seeing this, what is the advantages of the C language? We can say the advantages of the C language is, firstly, code optimization. What is code optimization? Less code to access the data. As I have seen before, we have seen in the example, to store the marks of 50 students, instead of writing int marks 1, int marks m2 up to for the 60, we have to take 60 variable. We can just write one statement 60, and from this we can enter the marks of 60 students. So this is a code optimization. Secondly, easy to traverse the data. By using the loop, we can retrieve the array elements on an array easily. We can use any loop, for loop, a while loop, if loop, any loop we use, and from that we can traverse the data easily. If like this, so we can use for I is equal to 0, I is less than equal to 60, I plus plus, and from this in any marks of 59 or marks of 13, we can easily traverse the data. We can easily. So it is very easy to use. Third important is easy to sort the data. We can sort the elements in ascending or descending order, or in increasing and decreasing order in any way. And fourth important advantage is random access. We can randomly access any element of data like this. We can randomly access the data. But the disadvantage of the array is, whatever the we have fixed the limit like this. If we have fixed the limit of the marks of the 60 student, we cannot store the 61 student marks. The limit is set. That is, from 1 to 60 student can only be, marks can be feeded. For the 61 student, if we want to store the marks of 61 student, it will give us a error. So this is the only disadvantage of array, that whatever the size we define at the time of declaration, we can't exist the limit. We cannot exist the limit. So it doesn't grow the size of dynamically like a linked list. Like the structure, union or linked list data structures we are using, we can grow the size of them as a dynamically, but here we cannot, the size is fixed. So how can we initialize? Let us see how can we initialize our data or array in a C. So to initialize the array in a C, we can do in a two-way. Firstly, compile time. In a compile time also we can do. Secondly, at the runtime. So in both way we can initialize the array. As after the array is declared, it should be initialized. Otherwise, it will contain a garbage value or any random value, garbage value. Let's suppose if I write int array 5. So this is a declaration. I have declared the one array of ARR variable and the size is of 5. So we have to now initialize the value also. What are the 5 elements? If we doesn't do that, it will store the garbage value here, any random value. So to initialize, we can be either be in a compile time or it can be at the run times. So let us see how we do in a compile time. Compile time means the array, here only when we declare, here only we declare the, we initialize the other elements of the array like this. Data type like this, data type, then array name like this, array name, then size, here we have size, and then list of the element. So how can we show this? Int array, let's suppose variable name is array name is array. I have declared 5. Now we have to initialize the elements. So 5 elements, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the type of compile time. Now how can we do in a runtime? The array can be initialized at the runtime using a scanf function. We use the scanf. It comes under the standard input output header file. I have told you earlier in the previous lectures, input scanf and printf comes under the header file. Firstly we write, before starting any program, we write like this, std.io.h, that is standard input output header file. So under this scanf and printf come. So you initializing in the runtime error, we have to initialize using a scanf function. Then this approach is usually for the initializing for larger arrays, or to initialize array with the user specified values. Now the values that will be taken from the users. So to initialize at the runtime, we use the scanf. So let us see how we with the example, how can we use into a compile time error in the initialization and the runtime initialization. So this is the example of the compile time initialization. Firstly, we see that it is a header file, include std.io, then another header file, include conio.h, then our main function starts from here. Then we are initializing one variable, integer variable I, then again we are initializing one array, that is int data type, array name is arry, and we are storing the 3 elements. So the size of this array is 3. See, there are different types of ways of describing the array. We can like this, int arr 3 1 2 3. We can do like this, or we can do like this also, 1 2 3. We can do like this also. Both are correct. ठीक है? Int arr, this gives array, this gives error, this, because no size is declared, and also no elements also there. In this, I have declared the size of 5, array size 5, but the elements are only 3. So last 3 variables, those last 3 element will be a 0 0, or in this the size is 5, but I am initializing the elements more than 5. Size is the size limit is exceeding, so this is also gives the error. So there are different way. We should sometimes the one word questions come ki what is a right syntax, what is the right statement for the array. So there are different ways of initializing in a compile time. So here we have compile time array initialization. Then we are using a for loop. For I is equal to 0, I is less than equal to 3. That is the size that we are here. We are initialize the 3 element. So the array size is 3. So from 0, index from 0. So how it comes? It comes like 2, 3, 4. So index 0, 1, 2. Here like this the array stores the elements. So this is the index. Index always start with the 0, and element first is 2, then 3, and then 4. So for I is equal to 0, I is less than equal to 3. Condition true. I plus plus we will be entering in the here. Then printf a of I. So what will be output? A of I means the first element will be printf will be get, then I plus plus, then the index will move here. Now i's value will become 1. Now I again the condition will be checked. I is less than equal to 3, condition true, then it will execute the 3. Then I plus plus, again the index will come here. I is less than 2 is less than equal to 3, condition true, then the 4 will be printed. So like this we can execute in the compile time. Let us see how we will do in a runtime. So to initialize in the runtime, as I have told you earlier, we have to initialize it using a scanf. Scanf comes under the stdio.h. So both header files come, then main function, then here let's see, here we have only declared the array. We have only declared the array. Array is of integer data type and the size is of 4. Now we have taken 2 more variables I and z. Now we are asking from the user, printf enter the array element. See, and then we are using a for loop. For I is equal to 0, I is less than equal to 4, I plus plus. So 0, 1, 2, 3. One array will be declared like this. We have to fill, because we are using a runtime array, the elements will be asked by the users. So this is how our array will be formed. For I is equal to 0, I less than equal to 4, I plus plus. Then scanf. Now here we are runtime initialize. We are initializing in a runtime. So scanf modulus specifier of integer is modulus d. Then this is a pointer, that is it will be address the, it will what this mean, it is a pointer. This will address to the address of here, first base address will be initialized by the ampersand AR of I. So it will be indicating this first base address. Let suppose this is 1000. Then for j is equal to 0, j is less than equal to 4, j plus plus. Then we will be printing the variables. So first variable will be asked by the user in output. When the output screen opens, first this will be print, enter the an array element, enter array element, then it will come here scanf, this will be formed, first base address will be denoted, and then for j is equal to y, here we will be inserting the elements. So first let's suppose we are in 4 3 2 1, so 4 3 2 1, like this the array will be formed, the output will be like this. So this is the runtime error. You can try more, you can do the sum, multiply, or you can just add a student's detail, like this you can do more examples. So let us see what is the types of array. So firstly, what is firstly comes a 1D array, then there comes a 2D array where we use the matrix form, and then comes a multi-dimensional array. So what is a 1D array? So in C, we declare any array by specifying its type and size, or by initializing it for or both. Storage class is optional. So 1D array, now we are seeing the example like this, int 5. This is a 1D array. This is 1D, which we are seeing in the examples right now. These are the 1D array. So I have told you earlier how to initialize the different ways of initializing and declaring the 1D array. Like this we can declare like this, int, we are declaring int AR of the size is 10 from 0 to 9. Index always start from 0. So there are 10 elements. Or we can, second way of declaring and initializing our array is, 1D array is int ARR size is 6, and then we are compile time array, compile time declaration, that is initialization 10, 20, 30, 40, and we are initializing our elements. Third comes like this, same. Fourth comes like this. I have told you all. Now let us see with the help of example what reading the element into the array and print all the elements of the array. If we see here, we have firstly we have initialized our header file, then there comes a main file, int main. Under it we are defining one array that is of integer type n, and the size of the n array is of 10, like this. Now we are initializing 3 more variables of integer type, like int I, j, and num. Now here what we are doing, we are initializing the data in a runtime array. So in runtime, scanf, I have told you earlier, if we are doing initializing our array, so we have to initialize using the scanf. So scanf, from there we are initializing our num array, then for I is equal to 0, I is less than m, num I plus plus. Then for scanf n of I of 10. So here what happened, our array will be formed of size 10 from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Our array will be formed like this, and the base address will be, let's suppose, 1000. In integer, basically the integer takes a 4 value. So next will be 1004, then will be 1008, then 1016, then 1020, like this. Then we are initializing one more loop, that is j. J is equal to 0, j is less than num, j plus plus. Now we are reading the array. We have read here our array, and then we are printing the elements of the array. So for the printing, we are again using the for loop for j is equal to 0, j is less than num, and j plus plus. Now we are printing the elements of the array, these elements which we will fit in this. Let's suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this will be printed here. So printf element, we have using the integer specifier modulus d, and this is n and j of I, n of j, printf. The output will be like this. So this, like this we can initialize the 1D array, or we can read the elements from the 1D array. Like this we can also see the, we can enter the marks of 5 students and find the sum and average using the array. So we have taken the marks 5, here sum is equal to 0. For initializing the sum is equal to 0, we have taken one more data type, float average. Here we are entering using the runtime array, runtime enter the marks of the element, initializing using the for loop for I is equal to, because the 5 students marks, so for I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. So like this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students marks will be filled here. Then for the sum and array, again we are using the for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. Then sum is equal to sum of marks of I. So what will be happen? 1, 2, let's suppose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So in the sum, what will be happen? Initializing, firstly our sum is equal to 0. So sum is equal to sum plus first marks of I. So marks of I, the marks of 0 will become, so 0 plus 10, then 10 plus 20, then 20, 30, like this, all the elements will have the sum. Then we will be doing the average like sum divided by 5, and then sum and average will be printed. Like this we can do many programs. So let us see what is 2D array. 2D array, simply we are forming one matrix of I into j or k into l, any variable you can take. So the 2D array in a C language is formed in the forms of rows and columns, like this, rows and columns, like this. So the 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional other are also known as multi-dimensional array. So like 1D array we declare, same we can also declare the 2D array. But difference is, in 1D array we are doing like this, but in 2D array, as it is in the form of rows and columns, we have to declare like this. This is row and this is column. So 5 by 5 matrix will be formed like this. The example is like this: int a is equal to 3. So row will be 3 and column will be of 4. So initializing the 2D array, like 1D array we have done, we can initialize like this also: int table 2, 3. So we have to 5 elements will be there: 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2 into 3. Then like this also 2 into 3, or like this also. There are 3 ways to initialize the 2D array. If we see which are valid and which are not valid, if we see this, in this, is it valid? Int ABC 2, 2. That means row is 2 and column is 2, and we are initializing the, we are declaring the elements here only. So this is a valid. If we see this, is it valid? Int ABC, we have not declared the row, but we have declared the column. So the elements are like this. Now this, so these are invalid because we have to initialize the size of both rows and columns. So all 3 are invalid. Only this is valid because we have declared the row and column. If we see a 2D array, if we want to do a sum of 2D array, that means we have to sum the matrix sum. So how can we do? Firstly, we have to initialize our header file int stdio.h, then main file, Let's suppose we have taken the one array of 2 into 3 size. So A is equal to 2 into 3 size. Then for declaring an initialization during a runtime or either in a compile time, we have to take I and j for the loop, and for the sum we have taken the sum variable and initializing it firstly for the 0. Then for the row, as row is of 2, size of 2, for I is equal to 0, I less than equal to less than 2, I plus 4. This is for the row, and j is a column is of 3, size 3. So this is for the column. For j is equal to 0, j is less than 3, j plus plus. Now this is a runtime initialization. Scanf specifier, as we have taken the integer variable data type a of I of j. Now here we have read from the user our row as well as our the columns. Now we have to calculate the sum. So for calculating the sum, we again have to use the loop, I and j loop, for the row and the column. Again, for I is equal to 0, I less than equal to 2, I plus plus, and then j, for this is for the row, this is for the column, j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. Now we have to print the sum, calculate all and calculate as well as print the sum. So printf a of I of j sum is equal to sum of a of I. So it will calculate the all the elements in the matrix, all sum of all the elements in the matrix. So sum of I of j. Here we have sum, we have done the sum. The sum will be printed here, and here the matrix will be printed. Then the return type, as we have taken the int, so there should be a return type. If it is void, it should not have the return type. Void doesn't have a return type. If we are using any other data type other than void, then it should have a data type of return data type. So it will return the 0. So 2, 3. So like this, if the matrix is formed, the sum of all will be calculated here. So like this, you can also you do multiply. You can try the multiply option, or you can do sum of two matrices. There are many examples for this. You should practice in the in a various platform. It is there in the online compilation also. You just try and run this program and see what output you get. Thank you.